Kia ora social media fam, it's your girl Tyler and welcome back to another episode of A Recipe to Getting Somewhere. Today we're going to deep dive into it. As you all know, we're completely relaunching or revamping A Recipe to Getting Somewhere, and today's video is all about 5 questions to ask yourself to know whether you're on your authentic path. Why might this be important, you might ask? Well, despite the title, A Recipe to Getting Somewhere, I have really been seeing a lot of glamorized, I guess, money making, filtered lives as you do on social media, which is great. I love that everyone is putting out the best of themselves online, but it's not real life, it's not reality, and it's definitely not what entrepreneurship is all about. And so I really wanted to deep dive into the back end of things and bring you guys in on my journey as I had always wanted to do, but also on the journey of many others who are going through their journey but also kind of switched up their journey as well. There's just so many journeys and recipes to life, and I think a lot of people get caught up on other people's journeys and other people's recipes and what other people are doing, and we have to understand and remember that our journeys are all different. No one journey is the same, no person is the same, and what someone else is achieving does not take away from your achievement. And so if you are here today and you're watching this video, which I'm assuming you're either here to 1, support your girl, or 2, because you feel like there is something inside of you that is saying that you're not on the right path, you're not living authentically, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not really sure on how to kind of dissect that and get on that pathway, then this is the video for you, and we're just going to jump straight into it. So without further ado, skirt. I'm so late. Kia ora and welcome to A Recipe to Getting Somewhere. In a society that's filled with filters and glamorized money making, I bring you the realness, multiple journeys, levels of success. From New Zealand to Australia to pursue my dreams, I want to bring you on the journey and the journey of so many others as we navigate our way through our lives and careers. From 3 countries, 6 cities, eating Weet-Bix and bread and having $10 to my name, this is the recipe. Alright, so I don't know if I said before what the video is about, but it's 5 questions to ask yourself to know if you're on your authentic path. Let's get into it with number 1. So number 1, do you seek approval from others? We all do it, we're all human. Don't beat yourself up about it. I've done it in the past as well. I still do it from time to time, you know, like I have moments where I feel like real down on myself or not confident or whatever that goes on in my head, which is like 60,000 billion things at one time. But the core of me does not care about what other people think. Of course, I ask for people's approvals. I ask for people's opinions on certain things or decisions that I make, but ultimately I always go with what's in here and what's up here. Even though it looks like I do things spontaneously, which I kind of do, but it's all like strategized. And you can tell me your opinion and I will 9.5 times out of 10 go with what I wanted to do in the first place. But I just wanted to get your opinion. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But yeah, ask yourself the question, do you seek approval from other people? If you're constantly asking people for their opinion or their advice on certain decisions, and you're finding yourself going down that pathway when you know deep down inside that's not authentically really what you wanted to do, then you are seeking approval from other people. And the reason that seeking approval from other people is holding you back from where you're supposed to be going is because you're putting that power and your self-worth and your confidence and pretty much your life decision in their hands. And it's like nobody should have, what's the word, like really a decision in terms of what you do in your life. Like if my family had it their way, and I love them, but if they had it their way, I would have been like a doctor or a lawyer, or like I would have stayed in one bloody city in one country, like, and just built myself up. And not to say that I haven't built myself up, but it wasn't exactly the way that I think people had really envisioned that my life or plan would go. And I'm in such a good position, and although I've had, you know, influences from outside sources, ultimately the decision has always been mine, no matter what I've done. when I wanted to move to Thailand. I just fucking moved to Thailand, even though people told me not to. And then I somehow ended up in India, and then I ended up coming back, and like I've jumped jobs like no bloody tomorrow, and there's just so many things. And obviously I worried a lot about what people thought back then, and I wanted kind of their approval, because to me at that time it seemed like if other people approved, then it was the right thing to do. But there is actually no right thing in life. Like, if it works for you, it works for you. Don't be holding your life decision or choices on what other people think is right, because it's your life. Like, mind blowing. But the reason that I'm like so passionate about this kind of topic and discussion is because I just want people to like wake up to their potential, wake up to the choices that they're making in their life, and just like be themselves and make their own decisions, and not be scared of like doing something different to what other people are doing, because that's the beauty of it. Like, we're not the same. Life isn't meant to be lived the same. So like, let's not be the same. Number 2, do you think the grass is greener on the other side? Now, be honest about this. I've had my moments. Like, I look at people, not now, like now I'm okay, and I know why I did it before and why I don't do it now. But you know, it's normal, it's human nature to look at people and think, oh, I want what they have, I want the house, I want the car, like I want my business to thrive like theirs is, I want, you know, to make all this money, because you see people that look like they have all this money. And I think that's the key thing, is that people make it seem like they have all of these things. And yeah, physically they might have like a nice car or a nice house, but in the back end they might be like broke as shit and be in debt. And like that's, and you know, and stressed out and stuff, and that's not really like a really authentic kind of lifestyle. And if people are buying things and putting themselves in jeopardy like that, it's only to impress other people, so they're not really like living authentically. So why would you kind of want that? But I totally get it. If you find that you are this person and you're always looking on the other side, I was the same. But for me, I realized, you know, I would look at like, you know, let's say influencers and think, oh, why am I not in that position? Why do I not have that house? Why do I don't have that car? Why do I not have as much following as them? Like, I'm fun, I'm amazing, like I have something to offer, you know, like all these things. But then when I really looked at it, I was like, you know what? I don't actually want what they have. Like, I think I do because I see it and I feel like I should be in that position at my age. Not that I'm old, but like I see younger people, you know, that I think or look like they're doing so well, and I'm just like, why am I not there? But then when I really started to dissect it, I realized it was because, one, I'm not supposed to have what they have right now, and that is totally fine. But two, I want way more than what those people have, and I have way bigger goals to achieve as well. And I'm not like belittling them or saying like, you know, what they have is like nothing. Like, what they have is amazing, and is, you know, what they wanted to achieve or are achieving at this point, and that's awesome. But when I looked at it and I really looked at what they had, I just realized that that wasn't my goal. But I think it would make me kind of like doubt myself or down, because I felt like they were a lot more ahead than I was. But I think what you have to realize here is that the grass is not always greener on the other side. I know so many people who show to others that they're happy and that they have all these things, or they're in a relationship that they like, or, you know, all this kind of stuff, and it's all a lie. Like, then they come to me and you know, talk about how their life is crap, or like how certain things aren't going the way that they want it to go. And it's just funny, because it's like, that's nothing to be ashamed of, but you're trying to impress, like you're obviously trying to impress people, or like fill a void within yourself, and it's not really working because it's not authentic to you in your life. So yeah, that's what I realized, like going through my journey. I'm now in a place where I don't really compare myself to other people, or look at things and be like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, I want that, like why do I not have that, you know, and question it. I just look at it and I'm like, that's awesome for you. I'm not there, but I'm on my way, but also I want more than that. So yeah, ask yourself the question, do you think the grass is greener on the other side? If so, then you need to kind of understand why, but also the people that you're comparing yourself and looking at, you know, with the things that they have, ask yourself the question, like, is that really what I want? Like, is that lifestyle, is that car, is that house, is that thing that they're doing that creates their money, is that my thing? And I would say 95.99% of the time it's not. So don't even stress. We're gonna work through your recipe and try and help you find that. Number 3, do you give your energy and time to things and people that drain it? I used to be very bad in this area. Like, I literally got to the point where I just had people or like things literally suck the life out of me. Like, I had no motivation. I was so lazy. Well, not so lazy, but I was just like, didn't want to get up and do things. I didn't want to, like, you know, present myself in the best manner. And then it just became a habit, like giving my energy and time to people that were just not right for me, like that weren't good to be around. And then even tasks, like I started to notice like there'd be tasks that I'd have to do, and when you're doing stuff there's always tasks that you don't like, but I was doing things that it was like I was forcing it, like it was a chore, and I was like, okay, I have to get this done even though I fucking hate it right now, but I have to get it done because this needs to be done. And as time went on, I started to realize, like, if I'm not feeling it, I don't need to literally force myself to do it. Like, just take a step back. It can wait. Like, it doesn't need to get done right then and there. Another thing as well, I did a course with Grant Cardone, and he talked about like being lazy and unmotivated, and I think Gary Vee also talks about it, and other people where I've read books. But it really resonated with me because I always started to question myself and ask myself, well, why am I so like unmotivated? Like, I'm super ambitious, I know what I want to achieve, but I'm trying to do these things that I think were going to help me get further with that venture or that goal, but it's just not working. Like, it comes to the time where I need to do it, and then my brain's just like, yeah, nah. And then my body's like, I don't think so, we're not gonna do that. And then when I did the course with Grant Cardone, which was really good, it was the 10X challenge, I believe, he said, if you're feeling lazy or unmotivated, or if you have a task that you need to do and it's like, and you're like kind of like you're resisting it with like every bone in your body, then your goal's probably not big enough. And to me, like, that resonated with me, because when I really looked at the bigger picture of what I was doing and what I was trying to work towards, I was like, you're right. Like, I'm literally like belittling my potential and pushing down my goals and what I want to achieve because I'm so scared of the goals that I have, because they're so massive, that I was doing things that weren't really going to get me anywhere because I was just forcing it. And it was more so like I thought I was being productive, but I was actually just like fucking around. Yeah, and so when he said that, I really looked at like kind of my goals and what I really wanted to achieve, and then I looked at the tasks and things that I was setting for myself, and none of it really resonated. Like, it just didn't fit in. It didn't help me get to that next level, and it definitely wasn't going to help me get to the highest level that I want to get to. And so I realized that I was putting energy into things that were ultimately just sucking the life out of me, because I didn't even want to do it. I didn't even want to be there. Like, I didn't even want to be pursuing that thing, but I was like, fuck, I've started it now. I have to finish it, or I have to see how it goes. Like, I can't just quit on this again. But I think you have to find the difference between quitting and like knowing when to stop. But we'll kind of get into that a lot more, because I could like go on about this one for ages. But yeah, ask yourself the question, do you do things or give people your time and energy that ultimately drain you? So when you're around certain people, just be aware of like how you are, your personality. Are you reserved? Are you more hyper? Are you more vulnerable? Are you more closed off? Are you happy? Are you always like rolling your eyes in your head? When you do a task, same thing. Are you resisting it all the time? Like I said, there's going to be things you don't want to do when you're, in this journey, but you'll start to know the difference as you go along with it. Number 4, do you put others before yourself? Now, these are just 4 like of the top 4 that I really resonated with when I was going through my journey. And obviously, like, we're always constantly learning and going to be building on, what we've learned in our experiences and things like that. So it is obviously still a massive learning process, but I feel like I've kind of gotten out of the fucking darkness of it all. So yeah, ask yourself the question, do you put others before yourself? And this is super important, and it's taken me literally 27 years to learn, because I've only come to a point now where I can honestly say that I do put myself first. I've been super, not reserved at the moment, but like I haven't been really giving a lot of my time to everybody, and it's not because like it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's literally just me. Like I'm just trying to still navigate and work through that balance. So I'm a very empathetic person, very compassionate. I love to, like, I'm always going to be there for people. If someone calls me and needs me, I will be there like within a heartbeat. But I realized that I started to push the limits with it. So, and people also kind of take advantage of that as well, because you are so kind. But I started to realize that I was always putting people before me, especially people that were like really negative kind of energies in my life, and that literally, like, once again sucked the life out of me. If you're someone who, like, if you ask this question and you're like, yeah, I'm that person, you need to start finding the balance, because if you're putting everybody else before you, there's no way you're gonna be like getting anywhere on your path, like at all. Like for the past 3 years, I would say I've felt so like stagnated. Like I've traveled like so many places and I've moved cities and countries, but just like internally and career wise, I've just felt so like stuck. And then there would be points where like all these opportunities would come at me and I was like, yes, we're finally getting somewhere. And then I would start putting, you know, others before me, and then that's when it would just kind of cease and stop, and I would go back into the cycle and then go backwards in my career, and then I'd have to kind of build it up again. And so with that, like, you have to put yourself first, because ultimately no one else is going to make your life, and you can't make your life about somebody else either, or other people. Like, definitely be there, but it's all about finding a balance and saying no. Honestly, just listening to what, you know, you say to yourself on the inside. If you don't want to hang out with someone, don't hang out with them. If you don't want to answer that call, like, don't answer that call. Don't answer that message. So to everybody who messages me and I reply like hours later, I'm literally just having my moment and I'll get to it. I just noticed that I was putting all of my energy and kind of all of my eggs into one basket, which wasn't even my fucking basket. It was everybody else's basket, and like helping them and hyping them up, that I didn't have enough left over for myself at the end of the day. And then I had to then go and find that from other people. But then once, you know, I'd stopped talking to those people, and I'm not talking about like in a romantic or sexual way or anything like that, I'm just talking about like my friends and things. But then once that had gone, like, I had nothing, because it had all been stripped and I'd given it to other people, and then they obviously gave it to me, but that only helps for like a split second, and then you like want to go back for more, but it just doesn't work. And so for 3 years I just felt super stagnated. Obviously things were coming up and I was still kind of living life, but I didn't feel like I was going anywhere, because like I said, it was like a phase, it was like a cycle. Like, one minute I'd get all these opportunities and I was going in that direction, and then next thing you know, I'm like giving out all my energy and my, you know, positivity and whatever to other people, and then I would drain and it would kind of reel me back. It's kind of like not a plug, but like kind of like a sink. Like, you know, you fill it up, it's like hot and warm, and then you wash the dishes, get them all good and clean, and then you put them on the rack, and then you empty the water out. That's similar. Like, you know, you're all hot and bubbly and positive, and like you have good energy, and then all these people come into your little pond, and then you give it to them and make sure they're all good, and then they go out and do their thing, and then, you know, it sucks you dry, and then you have nothing left. But yeah, so I guess ask yourself the question, do you put others before yourself? And then go from there. But those are just the top 4 that I really resonated with, like, throughout my journey. So let me recap them. We've got 1, do you seek approval from others? 2, do you give your time and energy to things and people that drain you? 3, do you think the grass is greener on the other side? And 4, do you put others before yourself? Now, I don't know if I worded those right, and I think I fucked up the sequence of that, but just ask yourself these questions. This is kind of a starting point. And then I will also link below a checklist, which is a recipe to getting somewhere ingredients list. And it kind of just gives you an understanding, or like a starting point to start figuring out like where you're at, so that you can start opening the doors to your life path and journey. But yeah, I really hope that these kind of resonated with you. And if you are asking these questions and you do feel them, definitely comment below and let me know, because I really want to help you guys with this show that I'm doing. Help you guys really figure out your own recipe, and hopefully you guys can get some kind of understanding about where you're at and where you want to go, because we're all different, remember that. But we'll be deep diving into these kind of topics a lot more. I would also love you guys to let me know what you think, and make sure you like, follow and subscribe. Check out the podcast, the video, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Bye.